Person who walks in and goes, oh, this place is beautiful. Or the gay couple who are desperate to live in New Farm who'll come and go, oh, Serge, I love it. Okay, people from Melbourne, where have I lived for a few years? South Yarra. I love renting properties to gay couples. They're fastidious, they look after the place, they usually have good jobs. I'm stereotyping some people here. Okay, the uneducated buyer, we take advantage of them. They drive up prices, especially in a hot market. So when a suburb's running hot, it drives up the market. Uneducated buyers go in there and go, oh my God, it's going to be worth $600,000 by the end of the year. $540 is a bargain. No, they'll pay more than it's really worth. They are a pain in the neck to compete against. You can't compete against them. Buying at auction's a bummer for our strategy because you're bidding against people who are uneducated buyers who don't care that much about value because they believe it when the real estate agent says this place will be worth a fortune in 10 years. Who cares? Of course it will be. It's residential property. I want to know how much I can make it worth tomorrow by buying it for a good price today. The educated investor, who are they? Well, I'm glad you're clear on that. That's you. Remember, you're going to walk out of here 2 hours and 20 minutes with me and you're a guru. Act like you deserve the part and you will earn it. When I started, made sure I looked like a property investor. What does a property investor look like? Suit, no tie. No tie. Tie's for stockbrokers. Vandy and they've left the building. I'd love to have Andy as a stockbroker because I mean he's a high-touch, high-service broker, right? That's fantastic. And if you're there and you're just scared and you're not going to, you can't. Oh, I'm nervous, Andy. He strikes me as the kind of broker who just say, "Look, do it. Or I'm going to come around and thump you." I thought when they came up here, I thought he was the security guard. I thought he was his personal bodyguard. Turns out he's a bloody derivatives guru. Looking forward to chatting to him. Okay, so the uneducated vendor is your ultimate opportunity. Make sure you note this down. It's the ultimate opportunity. An uneducated vendor doesn't know how much their property is really worth. You take advantage of that. Now, when I say take advantage, it does not mean exploit. They want to sell their property. What the uneducated vendor does is they go, gee, I bought this property in New Farm 10 years ago for $60,000 and now it's worth $130,000. That's fantastic. What a great return. I want $130,000 for it. What they don't actually know is that New Farm's running hot at that particular moment and they could actually sell it for $150,000. But they don't know this, and they don't ask that much because they don't really know. They've retired in Townsville.
Where in New Farm for the 150?
Where in New Farm? Oh, I'm using vague figures here, right? Because everyone's from different places, right? But understand that purchasing under market value happens everywhere all the time because people fall into one of these categories. And you can take advantage of it, particularly the uneducated vendor and the desperate vendor. Now, the desperate vendor is the person who wants to sell quick. Person who wants to sell quick because they've inherited the property and they own it with two sisters and they're all arguing and fighting over the money. They just want to sell the property, get their money and not have to do anything to do with each other, and now they don't need to see each other on Sunday at Mum's because she's passed on. That's one example of a desperate vendor. The other desperate vendor is someone who needs money. They need to sell quickly for some reason. Some other investment strategy isn't working for them. So they have to sell their property. They need to move. They're sick. They're moving to a retirement village and they can't be bothered selling their home effectively. They can't be bothered marketing it. They're scared that if they have their property open for inspection, the people are going to steal stuff. So they won't put it up for auction. They won't have open for inspections. They won't market it properly. They don't believe in it spending money on advertising. They're idiots. They're schmucks. What you do is you take advantage of that, because if they're not going to market it properly, they're not going to sell it properly, then you're going to buy it for a price under its true value. So you take advantage, you seek out the uneducated vendor and you seek out the desperate vendor, and guess who tells you about them? Real estate agents. Who here loves real estate agents? Wow. Who thinks they're a little bit dodgy? Okay. Who thinks they're going to grow to love real estate agents? Yes. Who here loves their bank? Who thinks they're going to grow to love banks? I love my bank. You're going to love banks, you're going to love real estate agents, you're going to love one other person most of all. And I'll get to them in a second. Real estate agents will deliver you these people. Understand real estate agents' motivation. It's commission. Write it down. Motivation, arrow, commission. If they sell a property for $5,000 or $10,000 more, it's probably 30 or 50 bucks in their pocket. Do you think they're going to want to take another 2 weeks to sell it just to get 30 or 50 bucks more? No. They'd rather sell it to you now. You take advantage of that. Understand the way real estate agents work and use it to your advantage. Make them think that you are a property guru. I didn't tell you how you recognise a property guru. They don't wear a tie, they wear a suit, they don't wear a tie. Come on. They're in control of their own destiny. They don't need to wear a tie to prove something to somebody else. And they're normally sitting around having a long lunch in the middle of the day. So what I did was I put on my suit, and it was dark, and I wore a dark shirt and I wore an overcoat. It was Melbourne. And I went out there, I had a clipboard, and I remember one of the first days I was out there pretending to be a property guru, and this agent said, "Oh, geez, you're organised." And I actually had nothing in the clipboard. It's just ready to take notes, you know. Hold the brochures. Now, I actually graduated a few weeks later. I had an Excel spreadsheet. And I would make a point of standing next to them going, "Yeah, what's the rental return? Yeah, right. What's the management body corporate?" And like, there's a spreadsheet. And I'm like, yeah, well, you know, I take this very seriously. This is my lifeblood, you know. I've got to track 40 properties that are on the market right now. They're like, oh, wow, right. So there's ways of demonstrating you're a property guru. I hadn't even bought a property yet. I didn't know what half the terminology was. It's fantastic. Doesn't matter. Just play the part. Play the part with these people and take advantage of them. So you've got to know your targets. People who don't trust real estate agents just want to sell it quickly. Don't want the fuss, don't want the hassle, don't want people coming through my home, don't want so-and-so up the street, that stupid cow, don't want her knowing I'm selling. And get out of here without her knowing. Don't want her to know how much I sold it for, I'm not auctioning it. Uneducated vendors that don't know real prices. People who are scared of auctions or marketing process, as I've explained. And people in desperate circumstances, family, divorce. Now understand that you're not exploiting these people because you're giving them what they want. They want to sell quickly and they know the price they want. You're giving them the price. If they don't really understand how much it's really worth, that's for you to take advantage of. It's the quickest way to build your wealth. Quickest way is buy under market value. Real estate agents are driven by commissions, death in the family, children that want to divide assets. I've covered all these. Sickness, person relocating to better facility. Now, the way you become a property guru, this is what you can start on tonight or tomorrow morning, but I reckon you'll probably be a little bit tired tonight. Tomorrow morning, in your coffee break, or while you're meant to be doing something else, contact the Real Estate Institute of Queensland. Go and check out their website, give them a call. The Real Estate Institute of New South Wales, Victoria, South Australia, or if you're really lucky and you're from Perth, who's from Perth? Oh, no one. Okay. Well, if you think about investing in Perth, which you might want to consider, because by law, you're allowed to inspect your property twice a year. Inspecting your property is an expense. It is a tax deduction. If you've got to fly all the way to Perth, bummer. To inspect your property, and you get there on the Monday and you're meant to inspect it that morning and the tenant didn't turn up. I had to stay a night till Tuesday and I got through it then, and then I didn't get to my other property until Wednesday. That's a tax deduction. Twice a year. Fantastic. Not to mention that the Real Estate Institute of Western Australia is the best of them all. Great website. You can contact the newspapers, you can contact the data services. You'll see this in the residential property papers in all of the cities across Australasia. You'll see advertisements for getting the data, the sales results. So what you want to do is get your hands on that data, get your hands on auction results. In certain markets like Melbourne, you know, they're published on a Sunday and they're published on a Monday. Same in Sydney. Brisbane, not so many auctions, not so much data available. There are other sources like the Valuer General's Office, local councils, the government department. What's the name of the government department that values properties in Brisbane? Valuer General or Land Valuations Department at the Department of Natural Resources? Yes. Use the newspapers and the services. You might pay $50 to get the results, but really the best way is to be out there every Saturday. Out there every Saturday and Sunday, attending auctions, attending open for inspections, finding out what the asking price is for properties, taking photos with your $200 digital camera, excellent tool for a property investor. Taking photos, keeping them, writing notes, Excel spreadsheet. I don't use the paper spreadsheet anymore. You want to know how to impress the real estate agents? Turn up with a laptop. Walk in. G'day, John. How are you, mate? How are the kids? Yep. How was the fishing trip? Yep, great. What's the rental return on this one? Right. Now, how do you walk in and go, John, how you doing? How are the kids? Yes, you get a relationship with them. What if you've just started and you're a new investor? What do? As you're walking in, you look at the board, and at the bottom, it says Rosalie Jones, 04, blah, blah, blah. John Pickworth. You walk in, it's a woman, she's in her 40s, she's probably Rosalie. Rosalie, hi, how you doing? She's like, oh shit, oh God, I don't remember this person's name. No, you turn the table on them straight away, away you go. It's fantastic. Excuse my swearing there. Right, and you look down, she's got a wedding ring on, she's got hair in a big mess, probably got kids. Hi Rosalie, how you doing? How are the kids? Or there's, McDonald's pickles stuck back here. Right? Just be savvy, think about it. So, walk in, maybe you don't do the kids thing, but just walk in and go, John, how you going? Jean Blackl. I look for 1 and 2 bedroom, we've not met before. Oh God, thank God. Oh. I'm looking for 1 and 2 bedroom apartments in West End, New Farm, Paddington and Bulimba that are in need of renovation. This is just what I like. What else have you got? Tell me about the figures. She's like, oh God, this person's a property investor. They love professional property investors because property investors make quick decisions and we know what we're doing. They love dealing with us because it can mean a quick sale. So you attend as many inspections and auctions as possible. You go and inspect properties that are open for rent as well, because you've got to become a property guru. Not only do you have to know how much it's worth, you've got to know how much it can rent for. Not what they tell you, because they will do one of two things. They'll inflate the figure or they will understate the figure because they don't really know what they're doing. So you've got to know. So go. In the suburb you've chosen, or the 3 or 4 suburbs you've chosen, I don't recommend any more than that. Write it down now. Choose 3 to 4 suburbs. Choose 3 to 4 suburbs. Become a property guru by going and seeing as many properties as possible. You could do this for 3 months. Who here has no money to start off with right now and is going to have to find the money to start from somewhere? Okay. And you think it might take a few months? Maybe it will. Maybe you've seen how you're going to get the money tomorrow. Ring up that auntie you've never spoken to. While you're getting yourself organised, you are in a better position than everyone else in this room, because the people in this room who've got $100,000 could rush out tomorrow and buy the wrong thing because they rush into it. If you've got no money and you can't start tomorrow and instead you spend 3 weeks becoming a property guru, your first purchase will be brilliant. Brilliant. There's no need to rush into starting this strategy. What you have to do is that. Start that tomorrow. Tomorrow, just by picking up Saturday's newspaper for your hometown. Start the process. Go out and look at stuff. And you can do it on the web. There's so much on the web these days. Write www down, and then underneath www write property.com.au, domain.com.au, realestate.com.au. The 3 best websites: properties for sale, properties for rent across Australia, and I'm very sorry for the New Zealanders. I don't know what they are in New Zealand, but I'm sure you do. Realestate.com.au, property.com.au, domain, D-O, domain.com.au. Okay, now, all right, we've got to keep on moving very quickly. We've got lots of material. You've To become the guru, you've got to keep records of sales. S is for sale in the statistical data that you will buy or get in the newspaper. SB stands for sold before, and PI is passed in at auction. So the best thing you can do is build up a database. I have the sale price of every auction and many private sales for all of Melbourne for the last 15 months. Hundreds and thousands of sales. Some of it I've bought, a lot of it I've got out of the newspaper, some of it I've physically been there and recorded notes. What did it look like? What kind of facilities? Did it have parking? What kind of title was it? Was it renovated? Was it not renovated? Did it have a view? Did it have a balcony? I record that information for every property I see. Don't go and inspect properties and take no notes. Have the clipboard. It'll make you look like a guru. What you do is keep a database. The ultimate is to have a computer. Who here doesn't have a computer and doesn't have access to the internet? Right, you really want to get access to a computer. It doesn't have to be yours, just use one of the library, use a friend's. Keep a database, because to be a property guru, you've got to have this information. You can buy it from people like RP Data. Buy data from RP Data. Residex and the Valuer General's office. You can also get it through title searches. But the best thing to do is get the data yourself by being out there yourself. I have huge Excel spreadsheets that record information on thousands of properties. Hundreds that I've looked at. It means that tomorrow, while I'm sitting here, real estate agents will call me, because they do on a Monday, because they know what I'm looking for, and Mondays when they get their new listings, they call me and they say, what do you think about 1 Kensington Road in South Yarra? And I go, yeah, I know the block, and I remember the one downstairs sold for this much last year, and they turned it into a 2-bedroom, and hang on a second. I'll turn on my laptop, I load up the digital photo I took. Yep, 1 Kensington, that's the block, I remember, it's all flooding back now. Look in my database, Kensington Road, what are the sales there for the last 6 months? I can buy property without even seeing it, because the real estate agents know what I'm looking for, and I know what to look for, and I've seen it before. You do this by focusing on 3 or 4 suburbs. You focus in on 3 or 4 suburbs in your city according to the criteria I've given you. Okay, who's feeling a little bit tired? All right, we're getting to one of the fun parts, and then we're in the home stretch and we're done on this strategy. Who's getting a feeling that this is a strategy they can start on pretty much straight away? Who thinks they'd like to start on it? At least, who'd like to become a guru? Okay, good. Now, it's fun. It's fun. I mean, I love it. It's not work. It's a great way to create an income, build wealth, quit from the job you've got right now. Who's feeling a bit tired and weary? Okay, so we're getting on to renovating and maximising the property's value. So everybody stand up. And give you a very quick lesson in maximising a property's value. Everyone stand up. I'm sick of this. Okay, so everyone put their hand out like so. Grasp like this. Bend over and put the roller in the tray. Do that. And now everyone do this. And you're in a rush to get the property done, so you're paying with both hands. And you're putting the paint in the right position, and you're going along. Got another one? Okay, sit down. All right. Now this is the fun part. If you think it's fun looking, and if you think it's fun to pretend that you're a property guru, who's always wanted to be an actor? This is better than that. It's better than that, pretending to be a professional property investor. But the fun part is renovating. Who loves renovating? Who likes watching Changing Rooms? Okay, if you haven't watched Changing Rooms, I do actually recommend it. I hardly watch any television, but it's a great show because you get some brilliant ideas on how to really cheaply do something different to a room. So, maximising the property's value. This is pretty quick and simple. I'm going to deliver this bam, 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 just right. Okay, what we're talking about here is getting the rent up by making the property appealing, which of course is going to increase the value. We refresh a property. We can furnish a property to make it appealing. We can decorate a property. And we choose the right agent to manage it to get a higher rent. Who's already a property investor? Okay, here's my bonus tip that's going to make you $5 a week. Here's my bonus tip. If you want to get $5 a week more in rent, you need to understand the power of the gerbera. The gerbera. The gerbera. Now, who's not sure about a gerbera? Just raise your hands. You're not sure what a gerbera is? Are you married? He's married. You're still married and you don't even know what a gerbera is. You've just been told just then. Yeah. Anyone else here not sure what a gerbera is? Don't be afraid to put your hand up because this is critical. This could save your life, buddy. Okay, gerbera, flower, just like you drew it when you were a kid. Circle, big petals all around. Spotlight. Spotlight, fake gerberas, $1.50 each. Bunch of gerberas in the window. Couple walk in. Think about when you were looking for a rental property. You've gone to the property that had the view of the CBD, if you stood on the toilet. You've seen the property that had a view of the water, if you stood at the laundry basin and did your hand washing. You walk in, you go, oh God, I hope this place isn't beige. Oh. You walk in with your snuggly, pugly schnookum lumps to the sixth property for the day. The door opens. It's beautiful and bright and refreshed. There is furniture in the place that makes it look warm and inviting. It's been beautifully decorated, and on the mantelpiece is a bunch of gerberas. She goes, oh. There's a reason why flowers curl over like that. It's because that's what people do when they see them. Right, this works a treat. Think about it. It happened to me. I remember looking for a property in South Yarra with my girlfriend about 5 or 6 years ago. Sick and tired of looking. We walked in, beautiful polished boards. It was white, it was bright, it was clean, it was new. There was fucking bloody flowers. It was 30. The good thing about video is you can edit that out. See? And see, now those people who are watching this on the video in the future are like, what did he say? We missed it. Okay, so the gerberas. It was $35 a week more than our budget. We haven't even stepped foot in the door, and right? It's the puppy dog eyes. Oh, honey, I think this is it. I'm like, but it's $35 a week above our budget. What do you think I did next? I can rent this property for $35 a week more, or I could put myself through this emotional exhaustion again next Saturday. I'll rent this one and go and watch the footy with my mates. Right? You take advantage of that. $10 on fake gerberas. I mean, God, use a vase from home and you're saving money. On the mantelpiece, in the window where it's going to be seen, it makes the place warmer, inviting. You know the whole thing about if you're selling a property, bake some bread, burn some oil, right? Haven't got time to bake the bread? Don't worry. Go and buy hot bread in the morning, break it open and run around the place. Right? Just spread that odour around. High yeast bread gets the best result. Work this out through experience. Okay, let's get into how you do this. How do you do this effectively? What we're looking for is improvable features. Now, what's written in red there is what you want to write down. Cosmetic, not structural improvements. Cosmetic, not structural. Now, the whole point is we don't want to knock walls down. We don't want to fix wiring or plumbing, stuff that people can't see. We want maximum impact for our dollar, maximum leverage. We get that by cosmetic improvements, not structural. The stuff that people see and the stuff that people touch. Keep in mind, write this down. Most people inspect the property for 4 to 6 minutes. Most people inspect the property for 4 to 6 minutes. They don't walk up and go, are they Italian designer taps? They look like the Italian designer taps. They walk in and they go, oh, nice taps. Glad I didn't missay that word. They walk in, nice taps. So you buy designer copies of things, right? They don't walk in and go, are they new tiles or are they just tiles that have been resurfaced? They don't do that. They walk in and go, oh, wow, the bathroom's bright. The kitchen looks good. So cosmetic features. That is things like carpets, paint. Write this list down on a page because I'm going to give you quick tips on each of them. Carpets, leave a line or two between them. Paint. Kitchen makeovers. Everyone loves a new kitchen. Oh, I could tell you some stories about kitchens, but I haven't got time. Bathroom makeovers. It's all about the bathroom, it's all about the kitchen. People love a new kitchen, even if I don't cook. I live in St Kilda in an apartment by the beach. I've got this modern kitchen with stainless steel appliances I don't even know how to use. All I know is how to put an oven, put the osso buco in, comes out 5 hours later. Otherwise, I don't cook. I don't cook. Why would I cook when I live in St Kilda? I can eat for $7 cuisine from anywhere in the world. Right? It costs me money to cook for myself. It's crazy. Same in many other places. You know, you don't need a big kitchen in King's Cross or Potts Point. Because people who live in King's Cross and Potts Point in Sydney these days, they don't eat at home. They eat out. That's why they live in that suburb. Dirty, messy and smelly. That's the ultimate cosmetic improvement. Just clean. Because most people don't. There's bad tenant in there. The lease has lapsed. The owner goes, oh, I think I'll sell that property. You know, see how much you can get for it. If you get a decent price, I'll sell it. I won't get another tenant. It's dirty, it's filthy. You get in there, you clean it up, make it look nice. You do the 21st century exercise, put a bit of fresh paint on and away you go. Courtyards and gardens. Another thing you can cheaply improve yourself, or you could get a TV show crew of gardening people to come around and do it in 48 hours, if you're lucky. Okay, light fittings, door handles and knobs, mould or damp can be fixed, and floorboards. Everyone still loves polished floorboards. Okay, now let's have a look at some pictures. Don't panic if I haven't got the list down because it comes up again later. Here we go. Here is Warren's first property. Warren, the person who taught me the strategy. Purchased for $123, had it revalued at $175, $52,000. He spent $8,000 on that place. He says that he made a classic mistake, the classic mistake that every investor makes with their first property. He told me that classic mistake, and what did I do? Made the mistake. I've taught hundreds of people what the mistake is, and what do? Make the mistake. That is, the first property is you overdo it. You get too excited, too emotional, you buy an absolute dump. And you spend all money on absolutely everything, because everything's got to be just perfect and schmicko. It doesn't have to be. I spent $30,000 on my first property. Now that was fine, because it went up in value from $245 to $325. It's actually worth $360, but if I'd sold it on the market, but valuers, I stretched them to $325 from $245. So it's a good return on my $30,000 of renovations. That wasn't the problem. The problem was it took me 4.5 months to do them. That was 4.5 months of interest repayments that I had to make myself without any help from rental income. That's why you don't do it. It's speed. You can spend 30 grand if you can do it in 4 weeks and you're going to get your money back. But you don't want to take too long. It's all about speed. Here's another one, a house that was revalued, it was revalued for $65,000 more. Here's an apartment that was revalued for $26,000 more. The figure down the bottom is the renovation cost. Revalued for $25,000, $4,000 spent on that one. Revalued for $39,000 more, you saw that one earlier, $4,500. $10,000 renovation, but it increased from $95,000 to $136,000. Purchased for $70,000, revalued at $90,000, made $20,000, $1,900 on renovations. Here is a straightforward renovation. Old kitchen, new bench top, white cupboard doors. Replaced the doors, painted the back of the cupboard, put a new white bench top in, painted the walls white. Voila, lovely bright white kitchen. And everyone loves a white kitchen. You know you do because you see it in all those advertisements for cleaning products. It's got to be the dream. It's got to be the dream. Here is a bathroom that's had new tiles put in. Pretty cheap to buy tiles for that kind of area, and just put in a colour that's trendy at the time, lay them on top of the existing tiles. Not too hard to do. You can buy a book at the newsagent on how to do-it-yourself tiles. And if you're doing a small area, you buy tiles really cheap, because what happens to tile warehouses? They end up with 2.5 boxes that does 2.5 square metres, which is less than what most people need. If you've got an area that's only 2.5 square metres, you'll snap up the tiles for a bargain. That was a hot tip on how to renovate cheap, and everyone's sitting back like that. Here is an old kitchen. This place is an absolute dump. It's daggy, old, late 70s. It's filthy. Look at the sink over there and the splashback. It's filthy. So what do? Take off the doors. Don't replace the cupboards. Don't rip the kitchen out. Take off the doors. Craftwood, MDF, cut into the shape for the doors. Hinged on, what do you do with the craftwood of the MDF? You paint it with high gloss enamel white paint that will resist stains, moisture. Put handles on it, voila, lovely white kitchen. All we did was put a new bench top on and new doors and $7 knobs, stylish stainless steel knobs. That was another tip. There's a few tips in there. Remember that I said that this was the bit where I just say it, I know the pictures are good. I knew the pictures were a distraction, Jamie. You said put lots of pictures in. Okay, there's an old bathroom. Whoops. Old bathroom, look at it. It's horrible. What a mess. This is sort of things unappealing to the uneducated buyer who goes, oh God, there's too much work to do. It's filthy. It's a hole. You're like, oh wow, it's a dream come true. Right? New tiles over the top. Easy. Easy. Paint it white. Put a new seat on the toilet. This person hasn't. Put a new seat on there for only $30 or something. Make it look a bit more modern. Here's that same kitchen. There's the sink. Voila. White tiles over the top. Or mender bath. Ever heard of mender bath? Mender bath is where they come out and they recoat the tiles. They have a special enamel ceramic paint, and they paint over your existing tiles. They fill in the gaps in your bath and they paint over the bath. They take they fill in the chips in the vanity and they paint over the vanity. They literally just go in there, shut the door and just go like that. And the guy comes out and goes, you can't go in there for 2 or 3 days. Looks like a brand new kitchen. The first time I had this done, it was one of my favourite things when my friends came around. I took them in the bathroom. I said, come check out the bathroom. So what do you think of the bathroom? They said, wow, it's a whole new bathroom. This bathroom's huge. It must cost you a fortune. Like, $2,000. $2,000 to have a huge bathroom with tiles up the wall to here, the bath and the vanity, the whole thing completely recoated to look like a brand new bathroom. $2,000. Put on some new designer copy taps. There you go, Mender Bath and their competitors whose names I can't remember now. Geez, I should get some commission from Mender Bath. They're fantastic. So that's what's been done there. New bench top, new taps, same sink. Someone just took a scrub to it for a change. Voila, new kitchen. This sort of thing, this is what we don't want. We don't want to waste money filling in and fixing structural things and things that people aren't going to notice. They're not going to walk in and go, good thing they got rid of that hole. They don't see the holes. Now, at the same time, that's what will turn people off a property. If you know that's cheap to fix, then great. But if you don't know, stay away from it. Wasted money. You don't want to waste thousands on structural improvements. It's cosmetic improvements. So, carpet. Carpet is cheap, can be cheap, is easy. It's the obvious way to improve a property. Carpet and paint. How do you buy carpet cheap? You buy it at auction. Buy it at auction. You look it up in your classifieds. I haven't got time to give you more. Carpet gets sold at auction when it's left over from laying a room like this or an office building, or it arrived and there's a slight fault down the edge of the roll which you don't notice when you cut it up into pieces and put it in an apartment. Auctions, look it up in your newspaper. Carpet auctions. Paint, the cheapest and greatest way to improve a property. You will not paint it beige. You also will not paint it biscuit, as it's known by Melbourne designers. You will not paint it cream or Scotch finger. Nothing beige, right? Beige is safe. Beige is 5-star hotels. It's boring, not that fantastic, right? It looks good in a 5-star hotel because they spent $5,000 on marble to make up for it. Paint it white. If in doubt, paint it white. You'll see that example in a moment. Paint it white, because it leaves the tenant to make the place look interesting themselves with their own furniture, their own furnishings, their own pictures. White will make it brighter. White is the solution. If you don't want to paint it white, you want colour because you just think it has to have colour, here's how to work out what colour to paint it. Buy 3 designer magazines. Buy Belle if it's for 30-year-olds who've got a bit of cash. Buy Marie Claire lifestyle magazine. Buy Inside Out. This is for the 20-somethings and early 30s people. You've literally flicked through the magazine as quickly as you possibly can with your partner, your honey, snuggly, puggly pies, or your investment partner, and go, what was the most common colour we saw? Right? You'll go white. No, but you'll go, what would you have seen in the last 6 months? You might have seen Japanese reds, deep purples, eggplant colours, otherwise known as aubergine. You want to see brown. Brown, very popular. Tan colours, hot pink, right? So you can literally just, you don't need to be a guru on design. You fake being a design guru by flicking through the magazine. Going, red's in, red's in. Paint a wall red. I'll explain that more in a moment. Kitchen makeovers, that's the best thing you can do, is improve the kitchen. Everyone loves a new kitchen. New splashback, stainless steel, or Laminex that looks like stainless steel. Black, white, grey, can't go wrong. Don't put in a feature tile in the kitchen or the bathroom on the wall. Don't make the bathroom white and then put some lovely flowers through it. They will look ugly in 2 years. No matter how good you think you are at choosing a really nice floral pattern for your bathroom, it will look tired and old in 2 or 3 years, and it's pretty difficult to rip out that strip of tiles and replace it. Don't do that. Solid colours, black, grey, white, if you don't know what to do in a kitchen. Messy and smelly, obviously you clean it up. Courtyards and gardens, buy cheap plants that low maintenance. That would be native plants. Fill it in with bark or stones or pebbles. Again, you don't need to get a designer in, just buy a garden magazine and you'll see right there what sort of tricks you can do. What's cheap with gravel and a couple of stones and a few plants. Courtyards and gardens, light fittings. Again, you can buy designer light fittings from Italy and France and the Netherlands, or you can buy the cheap copies. Buy new light fittings, it makes a difference. People will notice them. Use halogen lights or down lights where you can. They're incredibly cheap. If you can put lighting on the wall, going up lighting, fantastic. Beautiful lighting makes a room look very different. Make sure you go around at the open for inspection, turn them on so that people notice them, because they're not going to in the middle of the day. Door handles, again, it's about what people see and touch. They walk in, they spend 4 or 6 minutes. They will touch the handle to open the door. They will see the knobs in the kitchen. They might walk into the bathroom and check the water pressure. So the taps and the door handles are things that make a difference. Mould or damp obviously is easily fixed, and of course there are a few other little things you can do. The flooring is an interesting one. Polished floorboards, polished concrete, nice carpet that you get from the carpet auctions. Now here are some examples. Here is an apartment that it doesn't come up so well there, but you do see the colour. That's brown. It was known as the Cadbury feature wall, because everyone walked in and went, looks like a block of Cadbury chocolate. We painted the whole apartment white. The carpet was $180 retail laid. It's beautiful carpet. It's the kind of carpet you take all your clothes off and roll. Sorry. It's chocolate brown carpet. It was chocolate brown, sort of grey, depending on what angle and what was happening with the light. We bought it at auction for $42 a metre. The problem was it had a fault down the edge of the roll. It was meant to be in a huge office building. It would have been a complete mess. So, chocolate brown feature wall. The whole apartment was white, chocolate brown feature wall, feature doors. One bedroom had a brown door, one had a green door, bathroom had a blue door, and the door to the kitchen had a grey door. My father, who's up here with me this weekend, who was a real estate agent, he freaked out. He said, "What the heck are you doing, you idiot? No, what are people are not going to rent this. This isn't safe." And I said, "Dad, trust me, people are going to love it." And they did. I was there at the inspections, and that's what you do. You go to inspections and you see what people like. Your property and other people's property. Follow them around. If you don't know how to decorate your apartment, in New Farm, you're not sure what people are like at that moment, go and do rental inspections and follow them around. Just wait outside and then, young couple. Just stay a little bit behind. Who's ever wanted to be a spy? Here's your chance. Here is your chance. Follow them around. See what cafe they go to. Listen in. They'll go, I love the blue door. Right? It works. That property rented out for $425 a week. And I bought it for $250. Rented out for $425 a week in South Yarra. Uplighting, $56. Wall sconce. That's a wall sconce. It's plaster. It gets stuck on the wall. Put the light globe in. You paint over it. It blends into the wall. Looks fantastic. $56. That light fitting there is about $60. That is the most common property investor light fitting in Australia right now. There is an original, and that's the cheap copy. I call it the UFO light. You could probably ring any lighting store and go, I want the UFO investment property light. This is one of the bathrooms that's been Mender bath. It doesn't come up so well. I'm sorry about the detail, but you can generally see it's incredibly white, which has had the Mender bath treatment. It's a 1966 bathroom, which was great because the tiles on the floor were trendy again. We didn't have to worry about the tiles. We just did the whole bathroom in white, designer taps from the plumbing supplies, and away we go. That's a closer look at it, but you don't see the detail here. Here is another apartment from one of the people I taught the strategy to. Completely white, red feature wall in the lounge room. Lilac feature wall in the bedroom. Very warm, very inviting. White everywhere. Notice it's furnished. The furniture doesn't come with the property when you rent it. It's just there, makes the property look good. It's amazing. I've actually seen 2 new apartments available for rent. One was $250 and one was $260. I walked through them and realised they were identical, except for the one that was $260 had furniture in it for the inspection. It rented first for $10 a week more because it had furniture in it that you don't get. I don't know what it is with some people. They lack a little bit of imagination. They walk in, they go, a bed in the bedroom. That's brilliant. And look, a couch facing the window and the TV's there. Of course. You use that to your advantage. That's one of my hot tips. Put furniture in your properties, especially once you own a few properties. Own a set of furniture that you bought from Harvey Norman on 36 months interest free, except for you pay it off. You pay it off within the 36 months with the higher rents that you get. I actually move furniture around. My friends come over and they go, where's the couch? And I go, oh, look, this place I'm trying to rent this week is a lot bigger and I needed more furniture, so my couch is in there this weekend. Right? It can be worth it. It can make the property rent out like that. Cheap art, cheap, colourful art that's appealing. I don't like it, but in that environment it was perfect. Furniture in the bedroom, another shot. Cheap. See the Venetian blind? Easy. You buy them from IKEA and Freedom. You buy them and you trim them down yourself. You trim the sides of it yourself to the space that fits. They're like $50 to $100 each, depending on the width and the drop you need. It's slightly stainless steel finish. It's called a mini Venetian. Micro is really thin. Then there's the 1 inch. It's the 1 inch ones. Highly recommend. If you don't know what to do with your window fittings, put that in. And here is a kitchen in the same property. Black tile splashback. These are original cupboards, but they've bought new laminate doors in a nice taupe colour, which they got from the magazines. Black splashback granite bench top. If it's a property in a nice suburb, if it's in New Farm, if it's in South Yarra, if it's in Paddington or Newtown or Balmain or somewhere in the inner city, or it's somewhere in North Adelaide, or it's in Ponsonby in Auckland, make it distinctive by making the kitchen stylish and the bathroom fresh and up to date, because they'll walk in and that's what they'll fall in love with, even though they'll never use it much, except maybe boil a cup of tea or something. There's a lovely finish there. I often use stainless steel, whites, black, greys, laminates. Doesn't have to be the real deal, right? The people who are renting it who think it's important that they have a granite bench top or a stainless steel bench top, and probably the sort of people who are like, as long as my friends think it's stainless steel, it's fine. Use the stainless steel laminate that's around. Don't forget to put the flowers in the property. Who thinks they would have fun renovating their property? Okay, absolutely. All right, so now let's wrap it up. The key thing you need to know about renovations is that depreciation is a tax deduction. Depreciation is a tax deduction, and you'll remember earlier that I said it was the appealing part of negative gearing, was depreciation. You can depreciate some capital items and fittings. So when you do a renovation, you put in new cupboards, you put in new oven, new taps, new blinds, new light fittings, you're allowed to depreciate those. And they depreciate at different rates. And those rates are determined by the tax office. You can get them from them, or you can get your accountant to provide it to you, or you can get a quantity surveyor. Just write it down, quantity surveyor, to work out your depreciation. You pay a quantity surveyor to do it for you. Can be an excellent service. Now, depreciation is a tax deduction. You claim 5% or 2.5% or 10% of the value of something you've bought. You claim it as a tax deduction of depreciation. The difference that is available to you is that there's renovations that you can depreciate, and then there's maintenance. If you have to fix something, if it's maintenance, it's a full 100% tax deduction because it's a repair. So if you mend the bath to your bathroom because there were chips in the bath and the cracks, and the person who provided you with the invoice said they were repairing the chips and the cracks, that's maintenance. To you, it's a new bathroom. On paper, it's maintenance. And it's 100% tax deduction. So, where you can, you look to do maintenance to a property as opposed to new fittings. So you can find out more about this from your accountant. And to claim depreciation and maintenance, you must have rented the property during that period. So use a qualified tax accountant, use advisors for this. It's a critical area that has to be done properly for the tax department. Anyone got a question at this point? Yep? Just 1 second. There it is. Yep. Yep. Oh well, just hit me with a question. Yep. Don't worry about it. To claim maintenance?
To claim maintenance, do you not have to have a person in the property renting?
Yeah, the question was, to claim maintenance, don't you have to have a person in the property renting it? The answer is you have to have rented the property. It could be between tenants. You have to have rented it because it can't be fixing a repair if you didn't own it and someone broke something or put a chip in something or made the laminate peel off the bench top. So you have to have rented it. My father rents my properties from me all the time. Only for a night or two, and I give him a receipt and all that, and it's rented, and funny story. Quick, yep. If you're doing improvements.
If you're doing the improvement straight after you buy it, that's not a deduction, is it?
Not if you haven't rented it out first.
Isn't there a period? I mean,
it's a very grey area
yeah,
that you can find information out from the tax accountant or from the tax department. You have to have rented the property out to claim maintenance.
Yeah.
How long you have to have rented it out? Okay. Revaluing the property. We're at the end of the strategy. This is where it all comes down to the wire and we make money out of thin air and from our own personal effort, because we're smarter, we're faster, we put in the effort, we did the work, we became a guru, or almost one. We get the property revalued to access the new equity, to buy more assets. You already know that. So here are the tips on valuers. The valuer is more important to you than a bank manager. If you think you're going to love banks, you're going to love real estate agents, you are going to love your valuers. Because who in the end has the final say on how much money you've made? The valuer. The valuer is the one who provides you with a sworn legal document that you can borrow money with. What they value your property at is it. They are in control. You are going to love this person like you wouldn't believe. Given that that's the case, you need to understand how valuers work, because you want to squeeze every little $1,000 out of them you can. If you can convince a valuer through your own influence that the property's worth $10,000 more than what they were going to value it at, that $10,000 in higher value, if you borrowed at 80%, is $8,000 more that you can borrow to buy your next property. Now, if you're only getting $25,000 more and you actually need $33,000 to pay a deposit, do the renovations, pay the expenses on your next property, if you fall short by that $8,000 because your valuation wasn't high enough, you're stuck for a while. You've got to wait for it to go up, you've got to wait a little longer for it to go up more, you've got to borrow money from somewhere else. So if you can squeeze every $5,000 or $10,000 you can squeeze out of the valuer, keeps the strategy rolling over. See, I don't buy a property unless I'm going to get every cent back that I sink into it. The deposit, the expenses, the renovations, I have to be able to borrow all of that back against the property straight away, 4 to 6 weeks later, or I've got to be able to sell it and get that profit after tax. If I can't do that, if I can't work out that I'm going to be able to do that, I don't buy it in the first place when I'm using the formula I gave you earlier. That's how you use the strategy. Don't rush, because the opportunity of a lifetime comes along about every 2 weeks in the property market. It does, all the time, especially if you're the guru who's looking at every property for sale in your area. So what we do is, banks use internal valuers, most of them use external valuers as well. Who here has gone to the bank and the bank has said, it has to be valued by our valuer? Who's had that one? Right. What, do you think that's a crock of garbage? Yeah. As opposed to a crock of... Yes, it is. It's a load of crap. It's part of the conditioning process. They want to be in control. But remember, this strategy is about you being in control. It is a load of crap because half of the valuations that so-called come from their internal valuers are actually outsourced to valuers that you can hire yourself. You pay them about $300 as the going rate across Australia, about $250 to $300 to get a valuation yourself. And then what you do is you influence the valuer. So how do you influence the valuer? You get to know who the bank uses. If you know who you want to borrow from, find out which valuers they use. Or ring valuers and ask them, which banks are you on the panel for? Write that down. Which banks are you on the panel for? Because banks have a panel of valuers. In other words, a list of companies that they typically use. So if you ring up a valuer and they run off 12 lenders that they're on the panel for, then they're appealing to you. So if they value for more than one bank, great. What you will do is build a good relationship with your valuer. Give them supporting evidence. The way a valuer values a property is they go, here is the property I'm valuing, here are 4 other properties that are similar or slightly different in some way. Some are worth more, some are worth less. That therefore means this one's worth X amount. If they are basing it on these 3 or 4 past sales, what can you do? Give them the 3 or 4 past sales. Exactly. Because you're a property guru. You are focused on 3 or 4 suburbs, they're probably valuing across 15. You could potentially know more about the suburb than them. Show them your photos, show them the records, explain why the other property is inferior and why this one that's $100,000 more is just a little bit better. Explain to them why, give them the evidence, make their job easier for them. You've got to do it the right way, don't tell them how to suck eggs, just develop a relationship with them. Develop a relationship to the point that you invite them to your parties and promise them your firstborn child. All right, at least name your next kid after the valuer. And make sure they're there at the christening, right? Okay, keep in contact with them and keep on sending them evidence, keep them up to date, maintain a relationship with the valuer because they are the single most important person in the strategy. You've got to maintain the relationship. Now, we're up to the last section of the strategy and that is deciding whether to trade or whether to keep. You will have seen by now that the essence of the strategy is to accumulate as much property as we can and to keep it forever and never pay it off. Never pay it off. And we do that because we don't want to miss out on the increase in value. However, to do that requires you buy property in an area with good growth and good rental demand, therefore good rent, so it's paying off the properties for you. Where you are buying in an area, if you're in Canberra or maybe Wellington and Christchurch and the rental market maybe isn't as strong and the strategy doesn't work that well when you go and analyse it, then switch to the other side of the strategy, which is trading properties. That is, sell them. You can keep them and use the equity to buy more assets, or you can sell them and use the cash. Now the great thing about selling is that you can make a hell of a lot more profit than simply by revaluing. So the way the strategy ends up working is you buy a property and you finance it. You have it revalued after you've done your renovations and then you refinance it with the new valuation. Is there anyone who's not clear on that? That's what the strategy is, as I explained at the start. Excellent. The other way of looking at it is that we buy, we get the finance, we do some renovations and revalue it, and then we refinance it. Sometimes you buy property under market value, you don't need to do anything to it. You don't need to renovate it. You simply have it revalued because you bought it cheaply. That's two-stage financing. It's essentially what we did in the drawing at the start of the strategy. So, just going over what I demonstrated to you earlier, it's a shame about the colour there. If you borrowed the $20,000 deposit and the $8,000 for the expenses and the renovations to buy a property for $100,000, then you have it revalued at $120,000, so it's gone up from 100 to 120, you can now increase the loan against that property and pay off the deposit and the expenses, as I explained to you earlier. It's just there for clarity now. Make sure you're 100% clear on it. Other part of two-stage financing is, because you've got to use the right products at the right time, we take out a no-frills, interest-only loan. Write it down. No-frills, interest-only loan for 80 or 90% of the purchase price. If you do 80%, you don't pay mortgage insurance. You don't have to fix your rate at this point. Then when you value the property and you refinance it, then you will take out a fixed interest only loan or a variable interest only loan at 90% LVR. Then you lock it in, you let it out, you protect it with insurance, and you can forget about it. I'll never forget the day I was driving along with Warren and we stopped at the lights and I said, "Don't you own a place up there?" And he looked at this property and he went, yeah, on the second floor. And I'd only just started on the strategy. I only owned a couple. And I've looked at him like, how could you forget that you own a $250,000 apartment? And the point was he owned so many by that point, and they rented out, protected, interest locked in, people doing the paperwork for him. Forgot that he owned a place up there. Okay, now the last piece that I cover is protecting yourself. Is that people always have anxieties about what could go wrong, what might happen with all the strategies. And this is it, and we're done for the night, and we'll hand it over to Jamie. People worry about vacancy, not being able to rent out their property. People worry about damage to their property. People worry about bad tenants. Who's seen the Tenants from Hell on A Current Affair? Yeah. Then there's losing your income, rising interest rates, and market collapse. Here's what we do with each of these to protect ourselves along the way, and the strategy's bedded down and under control. Vacancy, drop your rent $10 a week compared to the next property. Drop your rent $10 a week. You're better off renting your property out sooner rather than holding out for $10 a week more. Your nails will grow longer, you'll keep more of your hair. Have it rented out. Make it presentable with the techniques I told you earlier. Just write down make it presentable. That's the furniture, the flowers, the fresh bread, running around with it like an idiot. Bad tenants and property damage. To protect ourselves against bad tenants and property damage, we buy in the right kind of areas, rent to urban professionals, and we take out landlord's insurance. Write down landlord's insurance. You can find out everything you need to know about landlord's insurance from real estate agents and people in the industry, insurance companies. Landlord's insurance will pay you when the rent's not paid, it'll cover the legal expenses, it'll pay for property damage. The best thing that can happen is that your tenant trashes the old kitchen on the way out. I ring my tenants and say, "I hate you!" in the hope that they will torch the place, because I get to renovate it for nothing. I don't really do that. Losing your income. When it comes to protecting yourself from income and being able to service the debt, take out income protection insurance if you are self-employed or you're a contractor or a consultant. Take out income protection insurance. Show it to your bank. Show it to your lender. Show them that you're not stupid and you're protecting yourself. Take out trauma and disability insurance. That's if something happens to you, you get diagnosed with cancer, some other terrible disease, you have a heart attack or a stroke. There's a huge list of very funny and amusing things to read. Take out $250,000 or $500,000 of trauma and disability. Now, one last surprise for the night. Who remembered earlier on I said that you never pay off your investment property loans? Okay, who was a little bit uneasy about that? Oh, good. You never pay off your investment property loans because you are going to get the ultimate revenge on the banks. Who wants the ultimate revenge on the banks? Okay, you're going to take out life insurance. You will take out enough life insurance to cover your total debt. Life insurance to cover total debt. Life insurance to cover total debt. When you die, your life insurance will pay off your investment loans. And your honey snuggly pugly pies, your 52 Burmese cats, your petulant little children, whoever you inherit your money to will get a multi-million-dollar property portfolio debt-free. Who owns most insurance companies nowadays in Australia? The banks. So let's recap here. You're going to borrow millions of dollars of other people's money from the banks. You're never going to pay it off, and when you die, they're going to pay themselves back the money. Do we love the strategy? Fantastic. Oh, I love that part. Oh, that's where we skip down the beach and kick up our heels.